So this message is for the folks who are the decision makers at the company WeWork. Hey guys, it's Morgan from Goldshaw Farm. I wanted to make a quick video about something I saw in the news yesterday. The company WeWork, who I think they do like office space rentals in various cities, they as a company have some pretty strong views about the environment and doing things right by the environment as a company, which I gotta say is awesome. The only thing is, they just announced this new policy for their company about consuming meat. So they've amended their company policies to say that at all company events they're gonna be vegetarian, and at all, for like all company businesses, like so you go out for a business dinner, you're traveling for business, and you have to expense a meal, all of those meals must be vegetarian too. Actually, technically it's not vegetarian, it's pescatarian, because I think they allow fish. They still allow eggs, they still allow dairy, but just really the thing that they're targeting is meat. The reason for this new policy, according to WeWork, was that they're calling out the fact that there are several studies out there that say that meat is harmful to the environment. The carbon footprint is awful. The waste and methane issues and greenhouse gases that are created are bad. And the deforestation caused for raising meat is also bad. Timber! But here's the thing, it's a flawed premise. When those studies are looking at their data, they're doing a couple things that are misleading. Number one, they're including the industrialized agriculture, you know, whether they're CAFOs or other forms of industrial ag, without recognizing that small-scale grass-fed meat production has a very different impact when it comes to carbon sequestration. In many of those studies, as they are calculating carbon footprint, they are including the cost of deforestation, so going from forest land to, say, pasture. But what they're not recognizing is that a lot of that's driven by many factors, not just the production of meat. Then the other factor in all this is, I challenge you to find a large-scale organic vegetable operation out there that doesn't use animal waste as one of its major inputs for a soil amendment. So if you think back to, say, 500 years ago on the American prairie, before there were any white settlers, what you had were large herds of buffalo who would graze and move on, and you know, whether it was pressure by hunting from native peoples or wolves or any other sort of predator, there was always this relationship of herbivores eating grass in an area and then quickly moving on to another area and then not returning to that same spot over a course of time. This form of rapid grazing and then giving the land opportunities to rest is often the most efficient way to sequester carbon. You know, I'm not going to get into all the details of it, but if you haven't ever already done it, check out a guy by the name of Alan Savory. I'll leave a link right here to a video of a TED Talk that he once did. So my point is, grazing animals actually can improve the land when done the right way. Yes, industrial feedlot operations are significantly harmful to the environment and significantly harmful to the animals. But when a company like WeWork lumps that type of activity with, say, small-scale rotational grazing, pasture-raised beef or lamb, or all of those types of models of agriculture get completely discounted. And so a policy like this from a company like WeWork is essentially creating a perception in the public, or perpetuating a perception in the public, that you know, any sort of meat production and any sort of meat farming is bad for the environment. I guess I'm just here to challenge that idea and say that that's just not true. In fact, raising meat out on pasture in a model that's regenerative, sustainable. Raising meat out on pasture in a responsible manner with rotational grazing on primarily grass-based inputs gives you an opportunity to sequester carbon and improve the soil and improve that farmland and make it more productive. So I guess in closing, I would just like to say to the folks at WeWork, you guys are totally trying to do the right thing. I really respect you know, what you're trying to do by making your company's policies match your values, and that's good. But I'm just challenging you to say, I think you're operating on a false assumption, and a flawed premise. And I would really hope that you rethink this a little bit. And I'm sure I'm not the only voice in this out here saying this, but really think about it. Really think about small farms. Really think about sustainable agriculture models. Really think about things in a much more nuanced manner than just meat's bad, vegetarian's good, meat harms the environment, vegetarian doesn't. It's much more complex than that. And I think solutions addressing the problems related to that are going to need to be more complex too.